Hello and welcome back to the Father and Son Pastime Podcast. I'm Patrick.
I'm
That's how loopy we're getting. I'm keeping it in. We're rolling with it.
I'm Kevin. How are you?
That's my dad, not me, even though we do look alike.
I was going to say I'm Patrick's dad, but that didn't work out well. But I guess you forget it.
Third episode of the day, everybody. 3 of 8. We're getting towards episode 100. We're doing the offseason outlook for all 30 MLB teams. We're currently focusing on the AL West. And, Dad, I'm very happy to do this division.
It's a fun division and led by one dominant team that has one team trying to push.
Yeah. Houston, obviously, is the best team in baseball. They have a World Series that is untainted. That's a huge, huge win for them. They're past, I think, the 20s, maybe not fully past, but have pushed some haters and doubters aside as they are a true dominant team. 2017, sure, write them off, put an asterisk next to it. But 2022 is fully earned as a World Series title. Dad, you just mentioned Seattle is pushing up, but LA and Texas have made great strides within the past year and are linked to a lot of people this offseason to really start making all those 4 teams competitive. I have all 4 teams somehow getting over 500 this season. Oakland obviously is in the doghouse and will stay there at the bottom of the basement for a long, long time.
Yeah, they had a sellout. I mean, think about the players that they traded away in the last 12 months. I mean, the bulk of their team.
Yep, Chapman, Olsen, yep.
Yeah.
Dad, I really think that at some point we should be sponsored by some sports betting. Because I made my
plenty out there.
I know. I would. Hey, if you're listening, DraftKings, anyone else,
even Bingo World is going to be a site. Seriously, it is.
I love it. But the reason why is I made my first official bet for the Astros to win the World Series, and I had a huge payout. I didn't make thousands of dollars here, people. I put $40 down for the Astros to win the World Series, and I made $200. But super fun. They were just the best team all playoffs. They were really unchallenged until the World Series. I mean, they were undefeated until the World Series. Put up some really fun games against the Mariners. That 18-inning game, that was really fun for the playoffs.
Yes, it was. That was really cool.
But as always, there's some postseason heroics that probably weren't household names. Chase McCormick, and
is it Chaz or
Chaz?
Okay,
he's from Millersville, PA, baby. Represent. And Jeremy Pena, the ALCS and MVP. ALCS and World Series MVP. Not many people get both of those, especially during their rookie season. Mm-hmm. They have just a phenomenal rotation, even if they don't re-sign Verlander, which personally I don't think they should.
A lot of money at his age.
And he wants multiple years. It's not just one more year. Dusty Baker finally got his first World Series ring.
Good for Dusty.
I love Framber Valdez. I think he plays mind games to pitchers. He's better than you, but then he makes you think about how much he's better than you.
Yeah, that rising fastball.
Christian Javier, I mean, the no-hitter during a World Series game.
Yeah.
A phenomenally impressive bullpen. And
young arms.
I mean, they know how to draft. They know how to scout.
Yeah.
They're not losing all that much, Dad. I mean, Verlander is the big piece. And I still think they're going to be a fine team and still my World Series prediction without Verlander. I think they'll re-sign Yuli Gurriel. He's a free agent. Christian Vasquez, a midseason addition, is gone. Michael Brantley, injured for most of this year, probably not coming back. Trey Mancini, probably not coming back. But they did re-sign Rafael Montero to stay in the bullpen. Bregman had a great year, Dad. Jose Altuve had a great year. Jordan Alvarez would have probably been the MVP, he was still third in MVP votes.
How about his power?
How about it? How about Kyle Tucker continually hitting 30 home runs and 30 doubles a year, and no one talks about him.
And great defensively, and no batting gloves.
Yeah, I like I said, Dad, I have Yuli coming back, and I want them to move on from Verlander. I'm just, I'm not trying to give away any of my picks that we're about to do. I don't really have them linked to a lot of big names because I don't think they need it. We'll get obviously into it to see if you disagree, but they're just a really complete team that I think is going to be really poised for a possible repeat. And clearly the ALCS goes through Houston, and until it doesn't, they will be my pick to be in obviously the ALCS, and as of right now, still picked to be in the World Series next year.
Yeah, I mean, if you really think about it, they had a very consistent year. As Seattle got better as the year went on and all that stuff, they never really ever challenged that heavily. Houston ended strong, and then they just went from there. And I tell you, their international scouting staff is probably second to none in baseball. Think about all the players they get from the Dominican, Puerto Rico, and just Latin America. That really is the heart of that team, and the fans have embraced that. Southwestern Texas and everything else. So just phenomenal. Southeastern, yeah. You're right, because it's towards the Mississippi. But just phenomenal scouting. They've done well. They got a nice little pipeline. They could be a power for years to come.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy for Dusty. Dusty used to get a lot of criticism, said he couldn't win the big one. At 73 years old, finally gets a World Series ring.
And he was like, "Let's win another one." So it was great. A lot of those people obviously could have retired. They have their coaching staff all coming back.
Yeah.
Their GM had some new GM, right?
Correct.
Click's
yeah.
gone.
Yeah, that's a whole great story. You find out the background of why you win a World Series and then let go.
I think he was going to get let go regardless, but
something happened with the ownership or something.
I don't think that, again, the GM created this team, so I don't think there's going to be a lot of need for a new GM to get started and make big moves. It's
right.
Hey, just keep everyone happy and give everyone
the
their
menu
contract.
is set.
Yeah, I like Houston. I'm happy. I think it's good for baseball. They won the World Series, because I think it allows some healing. So I'm really happy for Houston winning it. The big challenge to Houston is not coming from the Guardians. It's not coming from the East, not the Red Sox, not the Yankees. They blew through both of them in the past two ALCSs. It's in their own division. It's the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah, fun team.
And both of these teams that benefit from playing each other less in 2023.
Good point.
They will have more wins. I'm not sure about Houston if you get more than 106 wins, but Seattle will get more than 90 wins next year.
Yeah. They have a nice young team as well that's building. They should make some moves in the offseason to make them better, fill in the holes. They have a good, bright young manager. Things are looking up. I mean, they just missed the playoffs last year, and then this year they got in. So you can see the progression.
Yeah. For Seattle, you mentioned holes. They're still a team that doesn't have that many. They have a really dominant pitching staff that you could argue has even some extra arms that they might deal from. Either the bullpen, they already got rid of one of their relievers for Teoscar Hernandez, which really solidified the outfield. There's rumors that Jesse Winker is gone off that team, that he's actually bad for the clubhouse. But the big thing that I like to talk about Winker is, without Winker starting a fight with the Los Angeles Angels, your season would get turned around. I mean, those are two borderline garbage teams, and then they get into this big brawl, the Angels die, and the Mariners use it as fire. So watch out, Mike Trout and everyone else on the Angels. People are going to want to fight you this year, because that's the key to rebuilding your team. The Angels might be in the most brawls in 2023 because people are just going to try to fight them over anything.
Yeah, but they have the biggest people.
Oh, I know. It's a little bit of a joke. A full season of Ty France would really help the Mariners if Eugenio Suarez can keep hitting those home runs. A full season of Cal Raleigh behind home plate. His nickname is Big Dumper. That's his real nickname.
Okay.
I know we just talked about the Italian stallion, Vinny Pasquantino.
I'm sure he drives a truck.
I think it's his butt. I know.
I was trying to clean it up for you.
No. That's just his nickname. That's on baseball cards. He likes to sign baseballs as Cal, the Big Dumper Raleigh.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Mitch Haniger's gone off that team. Carlos Santana was a midseason acquisition. Adam Frazier had a down year.
But it could be a valuable piece for a team, just for a utility guy.
One unique thing about the Mariners that I want fans to pay attention to is any free agents they are linked to in this offseason, look for short-term contracts. Look for 1 year, 2 year contracts. The reason being is their 2025 payroll is already $40 million higher than their current 2023 payroll, and with significantly less players. It's because Julio starts getting paid bank there, Robbie Ray's contract, the extension of Luis Castillo, a lot of Ty Francis, a lot of their contracts balloon up in 2025. So they're not going to be looking to sign. I know everyone's like, oh, they're going to move J.P. Crawford to second and get Trey Turner. I don't see that at all. I don't see any 5-year, 6-year, 7-year deals. You look for those 1 to 2 year spots where they could have the right on base percentage. They are playing money ball with their second baseman or their DH. Look for platoon pickups. Don't look for big splashes for Seattle this offseason. Maybe some trades, but not in free agency. That is my thoughts on Seattle, Dad.
Good thoughts. I concur.
Anything else about Seattle before we move on to your second-tier teams?
I just think that the fan base in Seattle, they do love their teams out there in Washington. I just think that just give them some momentum. And, again, they got to have an uphill fight with Houston. But, I think they'll improve on their 90-win season. And you can see them winning 95 and all that. If Houston goes down a little bit, it could be a heck of a pennant race.
I don't think Houston will go down. Dad, you want to talk about Texas or Los Angeles?
Let's go with the Angels, the most confused team in baseball.
Tell me what's going on in L.A., Dad.
I think I would love to know.
Most moves right now happening is L.A.-based. Free agents and trades. So what's going on?
I'm thinking they cleared house with Joe Madden. Nevin got an extension, so he'll be their manager next year. We're correct?
No, I just don't like him.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I didn't like him as a player. So I think you're trying to get some stability. Is this the year they go gaga and add a whole bunch of players and try to contend after 3 disappointing years in a row? I just wonder how much money they do have to play with because they got some big contracts. So LA's a big market team. Are they going to make a push? One, they got to battle the Dodgers in the media to get, the fan base and everything else. But do the Angels have enough internal guidance to get that team improved for the next 2 or 3 years? Your guess is as good as mine. The last year was a disaster. And all you do is think of Mike Trout and go, boy, you hate to have him go through his career, and he's getting older now. He's probably 30, 31.
He's my age.
So you kind of say to yourself, does he have 5 to 7 years left? And if they don't improve, does he go his career without being a playoff bound?
I think they're in one wild card game.
Right.
Not they, Trout.
Right. It's a shame. He's such a talented guy. I don't know where they go. They can't. I think they go up. I just don't know how they finished 33 games behind Houston.
Seattle finished 16 behind, and they were second place.
Correct.
90 and 72.
Yeah. I mean that says a whole bunch. But the Angels right now, how much money do they have to spend? That's the question. How much are they getting guidance? I don't know the future of the Angels. I think they're trying to improve, but instead of doing the little steps, will they make big steps? That's my question.
Could I add some color commentary?
Oh, yeah.
So one thing that you didn't mention is that the Angels are for sale. There's 2 teams in baseball that are currently trying to find a new owner, the Nationals on the East Coast and West Coast Angels. Nationals have said, let's get rid of all payroll and let's have yard sales in front of our stadium. True story. They've had 2. And let's strip this place down to copper wiring and then sell it and try to make the biggest profit we can. The Angels are going a different direction. They're clearly adding contracts. They're adding talent from Anderson, Gio Urshela, Hunter Renfroe. They still obviously have Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani on staff. They're not listening to trade offers because that was a rumor, and it depends how they go this year. They could explore a trade for Shohei Ohtani at the deadline.
He's not going anywhere.
No extension yet. If the Angels are a good team, maybe the ownership can sell for more. I think that's the thought there, which is why they're trying to improve at the edges. I mean, I don't think there's none of these names are. I love Hunter Renfroe. Gio's kind of fun. Tyler Anderson's had good in the second half of his career. None of these names are franchise altering like a Trout or Ohtani. So I don't know if it's very kind of performative to say, hey, we have a complete lineup, unlike the LA Dodgers at the moment, who just non-tendered a former MVP. Come see us. We're going to start Logan O'Hoppe at some point this year. He's going to be a great catcher. We're going to But the only hole I really see is if they want to improve up the middle or a closer / bullpen help. It just has to click. I don't know if it does. I don't like Nevin. They really only lost Michael Lorenzen and Archie Bradley this offseason. I am very curious to see where it goes. I do think it trends upward. I would love a Shohei Ohtani trade because just like Juan Soto, that was everyone's watching. Do I think they're better than Texas? Yes, I do at the present time. Dad, what are your thoughts on Texas?
Texas, I think, is going to be one of the teams this offseason that spends money.
Mm-hmm.
New ballpark.
They did last offseason.
I think they're going to go even more involved with the free agent. I think they want to improve. I think the money is there. I think they will be players this year in the free agent market. I can see them rising, to third place, battling the Angels and all that stuff. They'll be a much better than 68 and 94 next year. I just think that everything, the stars are being aligned in Texas to make that major push. I see them getting a couple big name free agents and contending, or at least trying to move up and trying to get that sixth and final free agent. I think the future is bright in Texas. I think they have a lineup that is okay, but they need a lot of help, and they have the money to do it, so I think this is the year.
We talked earlier about how some teams sign, like the Detroit Tigers could sign a player to a 5-6 year contract in hopes that 3, 4, 5, 6 years are when they're contending. That's what the Rangers did last offseason with Seager and Semien, and I have to think it's what they would be doing this offseason too. Pitching, I think, is still a problem in Texas. I'm glad they gave Martin Perez and he accepted his qualifying offer, but lock him up long term. That was kind of the thought on why you would accept a qualifying offer. They traded for Jake Odorizzi early. Cool. That doesn't make your fans happy. Pitching is just not perfect there. I know they have two phenomenal rookies, prospects in their systems, Leiter and Rocker.
Yes.
Coming up, Kumar Rocker, yeah. They're not going to be in 2023. They're probably going to be in 2024-25.
You might be surprised with Rocker. He might.
We'll see. I mean, he was doing independent ball. So I mean,
but he did okay with the minors this year.
Josh Jung at third base, blooming to be something. Nate Lowe had Nate Lowe. I always forget.
Lowe.
Had a fantastic first season at first base. A lot of home runs. You could argue that they have catching depth if they trade Jonah Heim or Mitch Garver. Kind of they're doing like a catcher DH thing right now. Garver could also play a little first. I mean, you don't have to trade it. I'm just saying if you get an offer you can't refuse for a starting center fielder, hey, what's up? But yes, I do think they'll be exploring many options in free agency. I'm not saying multiple, but I'm saying a couple, especially in the pitching and the outfield range.
Yeah, I think there'll be one big splash and many mediums.
That'd be great for Texas.
Yeah, I agree.
New ballpark.
Yeah.
And I think they're hosting an All-Star game coming up.
2024.
Good for them.
Yeah.
So that could be a big year. That's probably the year they're hoping to be competitive then. Because then you could sell season tickets, and the people that get season tickets are the first ones to get tickets to the All-Star game. That makes sense.
Marketing opportunities.
Speaking of no marketing opportunities, let's talk about Oakland.
This could be his fifth great segue.
Dad, Oakland is the worst team in baseball, yes?
By far.
Okay. The Nats could be a little worse than them in 2023, but they are the worst team in the American League. Trade Sean Murphy?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he'll get traded as well.
He was nibbled on at the deadline, didn't make a move, but if you think...
They want too much.
Correct. Well, when you have a good catcher and there's so many teams that need a good catcher, you try to hold out. You came to bite the Cubs and Oakland, along the way. But Murphy's one of the tradable pieces. What do they have left? You look at their lineup and you're saying, what? And they don't draw well when they have a good team. This team doesn't draw well at all. And I just wondered how many years it's going to take to do that. They're trying to get a new stadium. They've talked about that for at least a decade. Something's got to give in Oakland. Either they're going to move. Las Vegas is, one of the cities that are looking for Major League Baseball. I just wonder about the future of Oakland and the team because right now they're struggling in all phases.
Yeah, struggle is a great word for the Athletics. I like a Sean Murphy, Ramon Laureano trade. I like the Red Sox in that trade if they can't re-sign Christian Vasquez because there's a need for both of those
Murphy
positions.
in Boston makes sense.
Well, his nickname's going to be Dropkick, yeah.
I was setting you up all day.
And no, seriously, like I'm okay with that trade because it means, and Ramon Laureano's got a gun, so that would be really fun in the outfield. So I think he'll get calls. I think one or both those players go. I don't think anyone else goes. I'm sure they'll be like Ken Waldichuk will be like a Cy Young candidate somehow with Oakland because that's how Oakland develops pitchers. Mm-hmm. They'll have Tim Hudson and Barry Zito there in a minute. No, I'm just serious. Like, who's going to be the next Tim Hudson? That's how I look at every Oakland Athletics.
And they'll throw it underhand.
Yeah, and they'll throw some sidearm thing at 86 miles an hour and strike out 200 people. I hope Christian Pache blooms a little bit better. He had a rough year last year. And Shea Langoliers from Atlanta also maybe is a catcher or DH, especially if Murphy gets traded, he'll go to catcher.
Yeah. High draft choice.
I think 60 wins, but that's going to be very interesting when we do high and low, where they round out at.
Yeah, that means they would stay status quo from last year.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But I mean, what might help these teams too, Pat, is the Angels, Rangers, Oakland don't play Houston.
Oh yeah, but it doesn't matter if Oakland.
Right.
If Oakland would have to play Washington Nationals to have a good competitive year, Dad.
Can you imagine a draw with that team?
5 people. I mean, they thought it was a WNBA game or something. They just showed up.
Send your cards and letters, Patrick.
The letters. Father and Son Pastime Podcast on YouTube and Facebook. Come find me.
All 60 the WNBA. You're gonna get text.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh yes, all your WA fans. I mean, they got you on a text alert. It doesn't cost them any service. They're like, did you know it's come for free night?
That's what it's called, throwing shade, I think, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, I think a WNBA game could draw more than the Oakland Athletics, and I'm a baseball fan. Or hey, let's get American Basketball Association going again too.
That was fun, by the way.
Yeah.
Red, white, and blue balls.
Yeah. Dad, I don't have anything to say more about Oakland.
Nah, unfortunately, I don't know where it's going to go. They had a team. They had a good manager that things were looking up, and they said, hey, let's pull the plug. We don't have the money, and boy, did they ever pull it. And, I would think they traded every tradable piece they had throughout the year. And then Murphy is one of the ones that they can still do something with. But it's a shame. Oakland back in the 70s was such a fun team to watch, and they were
90s too.
Yeah, they were exciting. Yeah, you're right, with the right manager and everything. So I just don't know where it's going to go, and you don't know what's going to happen to the franchise.
What's your 1, 2, 3, 4? Obviously, the A's are 5, so I'm just curious.
I'm going Houston, Seattle, Texas, Angels, Oakland.
So I'll just switch Texas and Angels. Okay. Excited to see my 6 in the playoffs right now. Blue Jays, Guardians, Astros, Mariners, Yankees, Orioles. That's my 6.
That's a hell of a 6, and it's got some new blood in there.
It's just one new team.
Well, Orioles, but you got the teams that built this year that are.
I'll take any team but the Rays. So sure, Orioles, Royals, Tigers. I don't care. Just anyone but watching the Rays in October.
Yeah. So I think that, and that's it. This year the playoffs to me were a great deal of fun because you had the Phillies and Indians and the Mariners as new teams into the mix. You were excited to see them in the spotlight, and that was exciting for me. And I was rooting for the underdog throughout. So that was a good playoff season in my opinion.
I enjoyed the playoffs this year too. Excited for next year. We're going to start for talking about the NL, and we're going to talk about them next, starting obviously with the NL East.
Bye.